Ranger Mike loved the forest. Every morning, he walked along the trails near the hills, listening to the sound of birds singing and the soft rustle of leaves. He liked the quiet and the smell of fresh air. The forest felt alive to him, and he always felt calm when he was there. Today was no different. The sun was just rising, painting golden light through the tall trees. Mist floated above the ground like soft white clouds. Ranger Mike carried his backpack with water, a notebook, and a pair of binoculars. He was ready for a normal day of walking and checking the forest. As he moved along the trail, he noticed something strange. At first, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. High up in the branches of a very old oak tree, something unusual was shining in the sunlight. Ranger Mike squinted and focused. It was the shape of a car. A car in a tree. That made no sense. Cars drove on roads, not in trees. Ranger Mike slowly walked closer to the tree, his boots crunching on the dry leaves. He looked up and saw it more clearly. The car was not small. It was an ordinary car, maybe 10 feet above the ground. Its tires were stuck between thick branches, and it leaned slightly to one side. The windows were dirty, but he could see the outline of the seats inside. Mike stepped back. "How is this possible?" he whispered to himself. He looked around the forest. There were no roads nearby, no tracks, no sign of how the car could have reached there. He took out his phone and took a photo. It looked real, but even in the picture, it felt impossible. He decided to call his team. "This is Ranger Mike. You will not believe what I found. A car is in a tree near the old oak hill," he said. His voice was calm, but his heart beat fast. He had seen strange things in the forest before, but nothing like this. Within an hour, Ranger Mike's team arrived. There were 3 other rangers, 2 volunteers from the town, and a young reporter who wanted to cover the story. Everyone looked at the tree and gasped. "Is that real?" one volunteer asked. She covered her mouth with her hands. "It must be a joke," said another ranger. "But look at the height. That is impossible." Mike shook his head. "I don't know. It is really there. I have no idea how it got up there." The young reporter stepped closer and started taking videos. "This is going to make a big story," she said. "I have never seen anything like this in my life." The team began to examine the tree. They checked the branches, the ground, and the car. The car's paint was old but shiny in some places. It looked like it had been there for many years. Some moss had grown on the tires and under the car. The windshield had a few cracks, but the body was strong. There were no signs of damage from falling, which was even more confusing. Ranger Mike carefully climbed a nearby smaller tree to get a better view. He could see inside the car a little. The seats were empty, and nothing seemed strange at first. But then he noticed papers on the passenger seat. They were stacked neatly, almost like someone had placed them carefully. He could not see what was written on them, but it looked like many small papers, not just a few. "This is getting stranger," he said as he climbed down. "There is something inside the car. I think we need to get it down carefully." The team agreed. They did not want to damage the car or the forest. They started planning. They would need ropes, pulleys, and maybe a small crane. Volunteers from the town offered to help. People were curious, and soon a small crowd started gathering at the edge of the forest. Children whispered excitedly, and parents held their hands. Everyone wanted to see how a car could be in a tree. While waiting for the equipment, Ranger Mike told the crowd to stay calm. "We do not know how the car got here," he explained. "But we will bring it down safely and find out what is inside." People nodded, but their eyes kept looking up at the car. It was strange to see an ordinary object in such an unusual place. Some thought it was a prank. Others believed it was a miracle. No one could explain it. As the morning passed, Mike and his team explored the area. They checked for footprints, tire tracks, or any sign that someone had put the car there. There was nothing. The forest floor was clean. The only way to reach the tree was from the forest trail, and no vehicle could have driven there. "This is a real mystery," said one of the rangers, scratching his head. "It is like the car appeared here by magic." Mike laughed softly. "I don't believe in magic. But I do believe in unusual events. We have to be careful and patient." By noon, the crane arrived. It was small but strong. The operators planned to lift the car slowly and bring it down safely. Everyone watched as ropes were tied around the tires and the roof. The wind moved the branches gently, and the leaves whispered in the sunlight. It felt quiet, almost like the forest was waiting to reveal its secret. Mike looked at the car one more time. He felt a mix of curiosity and excitement. He did not know what they would find inside. Could it be treasure? Old letters? Or maybe something completely different? The thought made his heart beat faster. The volunteers helped secure the area. Children were asked to step back, and the adults stood at a safe distance. The crane operator nodded, and slowly the car began to move. Everyone held their breath. Inch by inch, the car was lifted higher, swaying slightly but remaining steady. The branches creaked under the weight, but the car did not fall. Finally, the car started to descend. The crowd cheered quietly. Ranger Mike smiled. "We will know soon," he said. "Whatever is inside, it is something special." As the car touched the ground, a soft thud echoed through the forest. Everyone stepped closer, curious to see the contents. Ranger Mike carefully opened the door. The sunlight hit the inside of the car, and he froze for a moment. Inside were neatly stacked papers, tied with ribbons, and small boxes. He could not see all of them at once, but it was clear that someone had placed them carefully. The team looked at each other in surprise. This was not a normal car. It was a secret waiting to be discovered. Mike smiled and said, "We have just begun. The real story is about to start." The crowd whispered and pointed. Children asked questions. Adults shook their heads in wonder. Everyone could feel the excitement. The mystery of the car in the tree was no longer about how it got there. It was about what it held inside. And Ranger Mike knew that this discovery would change the town forever. The forest stood quietly around them. Birds sang, and the wind moved gently through the leaves. The car, once hidden in the tree, now held the attention of everyone. It was a mystery that no one would forget. Ranger Mike took a deep breath and prepared for the next step. He knew that uncovering the secrets of the car would be a journey full of surprises, emotions, and stories from the past. And the first part of this incredible adventure had just begun. The crowd stood around the car, their faces full of curiosity. Ranger Mike knelt beside it and carefully opened the passenger door. The sunlight shone on stacks of papers neatly tied with ribbons, small boxes, and envelopes of all sizes. He looked at the team and said, "We need to be careful. These items are old and fragile." One of the volunteers, a young man named Tom, stepped forward. "Should we start looking inside?" he asked. Ranger Mike nodded. He gently lifted one of the ribbons and untied it. Inside was a small pile of letters, yellowed with age but still legible. Each letter had neat handwriting, some in blue ink, some in black. Mike picked up the first letter and read the opening line quietly. "Dear Mary, I hope this letter finds you well. I remember the day we met as if it were yesterday." Mike looked up. His eyes widened. These were love letters, many years old. He carefully showed the letter to the others. "It seems someone placed all their letters here," he said. "Perhaps this was a private place for memories." The reporter, Anna, was already filming. "This is incredible," she whispered. "Who would put letters in a car up in a tree?" Mike did not have an answer yet. He continued carefully opening more ribbons and envelopes. Some letters were written in the 1950s, others in the 1960s. Each one told a story. Stories of hope, of longing, of love and promises kept. Some letters were from a man to his wife. Others were from a woman to her husband. Some letters spoke of dreams that had been shared. Others spoke of sadness and waiting. "Look at this," said Tom, holding a small box. Inside were tiny keepsakes. A pressed flower, a photograph of a smiling couple, a small key tied with a red ribbon. Everyone leaned in to see. It was like opening a time capsule, frozen in the past but full of emotion. Ranger Mike gently explained to the crowd, "These letters and keepsakes are very old. They show that someone wanted to save their memories, maybe for the future or maybe for someone who would find them one day. We need to handle them with care." People murmured in surprise. Some smiled, some looked thoughtful. Children asked questions. "Why did they hide it in a car in a tree?" one boy asked. Mike shook his head. "We do not know yet. But soon we might find out." The team decided to take the letters and boxes to the ranger office for careful examination. They created a small table near the car and started sorting the items. Each ribbon, envelope, and box was labeled with a number. Ranger Mike wanted to make sure nothing was lost. As they worked, Anna the reporter asked, "Do you think this was done by one person?" Mike nodded. "It seems like it. The handwriting is similar, and the care with which everything is placed shows that someone loved these memories very much. Maybe it was a man, maybe a woman. But whoever did this wanted it to be safe." The volunteers carefully carried the boxes and letters to the ranger van. Some items were fragile, and Mike reminded everyone to be gentle. Once everything was loaded, the crowd followed the van slowly as it drove to the ranger office. People wanted to know what would happen next. At the office, the team laid everything out on large tables. The letters were stacked by date. Ranger Mike and Tom started reading some aloud. Each letter revealed more of the story. They learned that a man named Mr. Allen had written most of the letters to his wife, who had passed away many years ago. He had written about their first meeting, the small joys of life, and even dreams for their future together. Some letters were sad, telling about times when he missed her dearly or remembered their happiest moments. "These are beautiful," said Anna softly. "He loved her so much. But why put them in a car up in a tree?" Mike thought carefully. Maybe he wanted to hide them from the world, but also keep them safe. Maybe he wanted someone to find them one day and remember their story. It was his way of keeping love alive. The letters continued to tell stories. Some spoke of the town long ago, of local festivals, of friends, and of family. Others contained small secrets, like the first time they danced together, or a funny incident that made them laugh. The more the team read, the more they realized this was more than just letters. It was a history of emotions, frozen in time. One letter caught Mike's attention. It was different from the others. It was newer, written in a darker ink. It read, "To the person who finds this car, please read these letters with care. They are my memories, my love, and my hope. Remember that love never dies, even when people leave." Mike looked up at the team. "This explains a lot," he said. Mr. Allen wanted his memories safe. He knew someone might find them one day. And maybe that is us. We are the ones who get to see the story he left behind. The team continued sorting. They found photographs, more boxes of small items, and even a few diary pages. Each page had stories about life in the town, about friends, and about special days with his wife. Some pages were faded and fragile, but they still held the emotions clearly. As the afternoon passed, the team realized how much history was in the car. It was not about money, treasures, or objects. The real treasure was love, memories, and life itself. Ranger Mike felt a warm feeling in his chest. This was not just a discovery. It was a connection to the past, a bridge between generations. By evening, the letters and boxes were carefully stored. Ranger Mike looked at the team and said, "Tomorrow we will start sharing these stories with the town. But for now, let's remember the most important thing. This is about love, care, and memories that never die." Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in red and orange. The forest was quiet again. The car had been brought down from the tree, and its secrets were now safe in the ranger office. The people who had come to see the strange car now had a new story to remember, a story of love and mystery. The first part of the journey was over, but the real story had just begun. Ranger Mike knew that the letters and keepsakes would touch many hearts. He felt proud to be the one to discover them and promised himself that he would honor Mr. Allen's memory by keeping the story alive. And so, the mystery of the car had turned into a story of emotion, a story that would slowly unfold and bring joy, tears, and reflection to everyone who learned about it. Ranger Mike looked at the sky and smiled. The forest had given him more than he expected. It had given him a story worth sharing the next morning. News of the strange car in the tree had spread quickly through the town. People were talking about it at the market, at the school, and even in the small cafe near the river. Everyone was curious to know what was inside the car. Some said it was a treasure. Others believed it was a prank. But those who had seen Ranger Mike and his team knew the truth was far more interesting. Ranger Mike and his team had prepared a small room in the ranger office for the public to see the letters and keepsakes. The town's mayor had suggested opening it for a short time so that people could understand the history and the emotions hidden in the car. By mid-morning, a small line of people had already formed outside the office. Families, teachers, students, and even elderly people wanted to see what had been discovered. Mike opened the doors and welcomed the crowd. "This is not about money or treasures," he said gently. "This is about love, memories, and stories that belong to our town. Please take your time and read carefully. Treat these items with respect." The first visitors stepped inside. They looked at the letters, photographs, and small boxes on the tables. Some picked up a letter carefully and read aloud. A woman in her 60s smiled softly as she read about Mr. Allen and his wife dancing in the town square decades ago. She said, "I remember that day. I saw them laughing together. It brings back so many memories." Children were fascinated by the tiny keepsakes. They looked at pressed flowers, old coins, and photographs. Tom, one of the volunteers, explained, "These items were kept carefully by Mr. Allen. Each one tells a story." The children listened, their eyes wide with wonder. The reporter, Anna, filmed the visitors quietly. "It is amazing to see how much impact one person's memories can have," she said. "People are feeling the emotions of the past, right here in the present." As more people came in, it became clear that the car held more than letters. Some boxes contained old drawings, written poems, and even small gifts that Mr. Allen had given his wife over the years. Each item had been preserved with care. It was as if Mr. Allen wanted to show the world the depth of his feelings and the life they had shared together. Ranger Mike noticed a group of teenagers looking at a photograph of a young couple by the river. One of them whispered, "It looks like a scene from a storybook." Mike smiled. "Yes," he said. "But it is real. These were real people with real feelings. That is what makes it special." As the day passed, more surprising things were discovered. Behind some of the letters, Mike found old tickets from the cinema, postcards from nearby towns, and notes written on scraps of paper. They all told small stories of ordinary life, family trips, school events, and town festivals. It was like looking through a window into the past. One elderly man, Mr. Kareem, stepped forward and said, "I knew Mr. Allen. He was a quiet man, but he loved deeply. I never knew he had kept all these letters and memories hidden like this. It is beautiful." Mike nodded. It seems he wanted someone to find them one day. And now, the whole town can learn from his story. The mayor came to see the collection as well. She was impressed by the care Mr. Allen had taken. "This is a treasure for the entire town," she said. "We should find a way to preserve it for future generations. It is a story about love, life, and memory that everyone should know." Meanwhile, the children were still excitedly exploring. One little girl found a small jewelry box with a delicate bracelet inside. Tom explained, "These items were personal gifts. Mr. Allen wanted to keep them safe, just like his letters. It shows the love and thoughtfulness he had for his wife." As visitors continued to arrive, Ranger Mike realized that the car had become more than just a strange discovery. It had become a bridge between the past and the present. People were connecting with emotions that were many years old, but still very real. Some visitors cried quietly, while others smiled and shared their memories of loved ones. The team also found a small notebook tucked under the car's seat. It contained Mr. Allen's daily thoughts, written over many years. Each page described small moments, a walk in the forest, a sunny afternoon, a laugh shared between friends. It was simple, but full of life. Mike read a passage aloud. "Today I saw Mary smile as she watched the children play. It made my heart light. I hope this moment stays with me forever." Everyone in the room was silent for a moment. The simplicity of the words, the honesty of the feelings, touched everyone deeply. The town had found not just letters and objects, but the story of a life full of love and care. By late afternoon, the room had grown crowded, but no one wanted to leave. People whispered to each other about the memories in the letters. Some shared stories of their own loved ones. A few students asked Mike if they could help preserve the items digitally, so the stories could last even longer. Mike agreed. He felt proud that the town was taking responsibility for keeping the memories alive. Even the reporter, Anna, was moved. "This is not just a story for a newspaper," she said softly. "This is a story for the heart. Everyone should know about this." As evening approached, Ranger Mike and his team carefully packed some of the items back into boxes to ensure they were safe overnight. The townspeople left slowly, talking quietly about what they had seen. Everyone seemed thoughtful, touched by the history and emotions they had witnessed. Mike stood outside the office, looking at the car now resting safely in the ranger lot. The mystery had started with a strange sight in a tree, but now it had become a story about love, memory, and life. The car had brought the town together, reminding everyone that ordinary objects could hold extraordinary stories. He thought about Mr. Allen and his wife. They had created something that lasted far beyond their own lives. Their memories, letters, and keepsakes had become a gift for the whole town. Ranger Mike felt a sense of gratitude. He had discovered the car, but the real discovery was the story it held. The forest outside was quiet as the sun set. Birds returned to their nests, and a soft breeze moved through the trees. Mike smiled, thinking about the next day. There were still more letters and boxes to explore. He was curious about what other stories Mr. Allen had hidden inside the car. The town had already started talking about creating a small museum or exhibit to share the memories with everyone. Ranger Mike knew that the discovery would continue to surprise, teach, and touch people for a long time. The car, once high in a tree, had become a symbol of love, patience, and memory. And so, the mystery of the car continued. What had started as a strange and impossible sight had now become a journey into the heart of a man who loved deeply. Ranger Mike looked forward to the next discoveries, knowing that each letter and keepsake would reveal more about the past, connect the town, and inspire everyone who learned about the story of Mr. Allen and his hidden treasures. The day ended quietly, but the story had only grown stronger. The town had witnessed the beginning of something extraordinary. The car in the tree was no longer just a puzzle. It was a doorway to the past, a reminder that love and memories can survive through time, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. The next morning, Ranger Mike arrived at the office early. The sun had just risen, casting soft golden light across the town. He felt a mixture of excitement and curiosity. After days of examining the letters, boxes, and photographs, he believed there was still something hidden, something that had not yet been discovered. He called his team together. Tom and Anna arrived shortly after, carrying more notebooks and envelopes from the car. "Good morning," Mike said with a smile. "Yesterday, we learned a lot about Mr. Allen and his wife. Today, I think we will find the most special surprises." Tom looked curious. "What do you mean, Mike?" Mike nodded toward a small, locked compartment under the driver's seat of the car. "When we first brought the car down, I noticed a hidden section. We did not have the tools to open it safely. I think this is where Mr. Allen kept the most important memories." Anna's eyes widened. "Do you mean a secret inside the car?" "Yes," Mike said. "We need to open it carefully. There could be letters, items, or something we have not seen yet. I want to be very careful, so we do not damage anything. The team brought tools and protective gloves. The compartment was small and sturdy, designed to blend perfectly with the interior of the car. Mike inserted the key that he had found earlier in a small envelope. With a soft click, the compartment opened. Everyone leaned in, their eyes full of wonder. Inside, they found a collection unlike anything they had seen before. There were more letters, but these were different. They were written on thick, delicate paper, each one carefully sealed. Some had tiny drawings in the corners, hearts, stars, and small flowers. There were also photographs, but these were not ordinary pictures. They were pictures of the couple together at different times in their life, laughing by the river, walking through the forest, sitting on the porch at sunset. Each photograph seemed to capture a moment of happiness frozen in time. Tom carefully lifted a small box. Inside were 2 rings, simple yet beautiful. Anna gasped. "These must have belonged to Mr. Allen and his wife," she whispered. "This is incredible." Mike nodded. "It looks like Mr. Allen wanted to preserve their love in the most personal way. Every item here tells a story." They carefully opened the letters. One letter read, "To my dearest Mary, when I am no longer here, I hope these letters and memories will remind you of how much I loved you. Our life together was my greatest joy, and I want our story to be remembered." Another letter said, "Every small moment with you was precious. I wrote these letters to keep our love alive. I hope that one day, someone who finds them will understand how important love is." The team looked at each other. This was more than a collection of letters and photographs. This was a life full of care, thoughtfulness, and emotion. Mr. Allen had not only preserved memories for himself, he had created a gift for the future. Anna asked softly, "Do you think he wanted someone to find it?" Mike nodded slowly. "Yes. I think he hid the car in the tree to protect it, but he also hoped that one day, someone would discover it and feel the same emotions he did. It is like a time capsule, but full of love instead of money or objects." As they continued to examine the items, they found a small diary. Its pages were filled with short notes, thoughts, and reflections. One entry read, "Today, Mary and I watched the sunset. Her smile made me forget all worries. I hope I can remember this moment forever." Another read, "The children played by the river today. I felt so happy seeing Mary laugh with them. Life is simple, but it is perfect when shared with someone you love." Mike realized that these were not just memories. They were lessons about life. They showed the beauty in small moments, the importance of care, and the power of love that lasts beyond time. The team decided to share some of the photographs and letters with the town. They carefully arranged them on display tables, making sure each item was safe and easy to see. Word spread quickly, and soon more townspeople came to view the collection. Everyone was amazed. Some people cried quietly as they read the letters. Others smiled, remembering their own loved ones. Children were fascinated by the photographs and small keepsakes. Mr. Kareem, the elderly man who had known Mr. Allen, came to the office again. "I cannot believe what I am seeing," he said softly. "These letters, photographs, and keepsakes show the depth of Mr. Allen's love. It is more than anyone could imagine." Mike nodded. He wanted to share it with the future. And now, we are the ones who can make sure his story is remembered. As the afternoon passed, the team discovered another surprise. At the very bottom of the compartment was a small notebook labeled "Our Dreams." Inside were detailed plans and wishes that Mr. Allen and his wife had made together. They had dreamed of traveling to nearby towns, planting a small garden, and helping the children of their community. Each page showed their hope for the future, even though life had changed in unexpected ways. Tom looked at Mike. "This is amazing. It is like a whole life story hidden in a car." Mike smiled. "Exactly. It is not just about objects or letters. It is about emotions, memories, and the things that make life meaningful." Anna filmed the notebook carefully. "This will be an incredible story to share with the town," she said. People will see how much love and care one person can give. By evening, the office was quiet. The townspeople had left, but everyone felt a sense of awe. Ranger Mike and his team carefully stored the letters, photographs, and keepsakes for safekeeping. They knew that the biggest surprise, the hidden compartment with the most personal items, had changed the story from being mysterious to being deeply emotional and meaningful. Mike stood outside, looking at the car resting safely in the lot. The forest around was calm, and the sun had set behind the hills. He felt a warm sense of satisfaction. The car had started as a mystery, but now it had revealed the greatest surprise of all, a story of love, care, and life shared fully. He thought about Mr. Allen and his wife. They had created something that would last far beyond their lives. Their memories, letters, photographs, and keepsakes had become a treasure for the whole town. And now, the town had a chance to honor that love and keep it alive. As night fell, Ranger Mike made a promise to himself. He would protect the story, share it carefully, and make sure that Mr. Allen's message about love, patience, and memory reached as many people as possible. The forest had hidden a car in a tree, but it had also hidden a story that could teach and inspire for generations. The biggest surprise inside the car had not been money or objects. It had been the depth of human emotion, the small joys of life, and the lasting power of love. Ranger Mike smiled, knowing that this discovery had changed him as well. The story was far from over, and the town would continue to learn, remember, and celebrate the life and love of Mr. Allen and his wife. And so, the hidden car had finally revealed its heart. What started as a strange mystery high in a tree had transformed into a story full of emotion, connection, and timeless lessons about life. The town would never forget it, and neither would Ranger Mike. The next morning, Ranger Mike arrived at the office early. The sun rose gently over the hills, and the forest was quiet except for the soft chirping of birds. He looked at the car resting safely in the ranger lot, remembering how it had first appeared high in a tree. What had started as a strange and impossible sight had now become a story full of emotion, love, and memory. Mike's team was ready. Tom and Anna had spent the last few days carefully cataloging every letter, photograph, and keepsake. The mayor of the town had arrived to help prepare a special exhibition for the townspeople. Today, everyone would have a chance to experience the story of Mr. Allen and his hidden treasures. As the doors opened, people started arriving. Families, elderly people, teachers, and children all came to see the discovery. Many had heard about it from friends, neighbors, or the news, and everyone wanted to witness it firsthand. The excitement in the air was palpable. Ranger Mike welcomed the visitors. "This exhibition is about more than a car," he said. "It is about love, memories, and life. Mr. Allen left behind these letters, photographs, and keepsakes so that we could remember the small but important moments in life. Please enjoy them and take your time." The townspeople moved slowly around the tables. They read the letters, examined photographs, and looked at the small keepsakes. Some letters were simple notes about daily life, like walks in the forest or small celebrations with friends. Others spoke of deep love, loss, and hope. Children were fascinated by pressed flowers, tiny drawings, and small boxes with tiny treasures inside. A group of teenagers gathered near one of the tables. One of them, Sarah, picked up a photograph of Mr. Allen and his wife sitting under a tree. "They look so happy," she said softly. Her friends nodded, and one whispered, "It is like they are still alive in these memories." Mike smiled. That is exactly what Mr. Allen wanted. He wanted to share his happiness and love, even after he was gone. The mayor approached Mike. "This is more than I imagined," she said. "It is not just a story. It is a lesson for our whole town. People can see the importance of love, patience, and care. We should make sure these memories are preserved forever." Mike agreed. He had already thought about creating a small museum or permanent display in the town hall. This way, everyone could continue to learn from Mr. Allen's story and share it with future generations. As the day passed, visitors shared their own memories. Some remembered loved ones who had passed away. Others told stories of their parents, grandparents, or friends. The exhibition became more than just about Mr. Allen. It became a celebration of life, love, and connection. Anna, the reporter, filmed carefully, capturing the emotions of the townspeople. "This is a story that everyone should see," she said softly. "It is a reminder that love and memories are the most valuable treasures we can have." One of the children found a small notebook tucked under a box. It contained simple drawings of trees, flowers, and the sun. Each drawing had a short note about a day spent with Mary, Mr. Allen's wife. The child showed it to Mike. "Look. These are their happy days," she said. Mike nodded. "Yes, these are moments they wanted to remember forever. And now, you get to see them too." The townspeople continued exploring, each discovering something new. Some were moved to tears, others smiled quietly. Everyone felt connected to the story in their own way. Mr. Allen's love and thoughtfulness had reached across time and touched the hearts of people who had never met him or his wife. By late afternoon, the exhibition had grown crowded. Visitors gathered to hear Ranger Mike read aloud one of the letters. It said, "Dear Mary, our life together has been my greatest joy. I hope that the person who reads these letters will understand that love is the most important thing in life. Every small moment we shared was special, and I want those moments to be remembered forever." Silence fell over the room. The townspeople listened carefully, feeling the weight and beauty of the words. Some held hands, others nodded quietly. It was a powerful moment, a connection between past and present. Tom, looking around at the crowd, whispered to Mike, "I never imagined that one car in a tree could bring so many people together." Mike nodded. "It is not just the car. It is the story inside. That is what matters." The mayor stepped forward and suggested something. "We should create a small section in the town library to display these items permanently. That way, everyone can continue to see and learn from them." Mike agreed. "We will make sure it is done carefully. Every letter, photograph, and keepsake deserves respect. This story will continue to inspire people for many years." As evening approached, the crowd slowly left the office. People talked quietly about what they had seen and experienced. Children carried small sketches inspired by the drawings in the notebook. Adults discussed the letters and shared their own memories. The exhibition had become more than a display. It had become a moment of reflection for the entire town. Ranger Mike stayed behind, looking at the last few letters and photographs. He felt a sense of fulfillment. The car that had seemed so strange in the tree had revealed a story that was timeless. It had taught the town about love, memory, and the beauty of everyday life. He thought about Mr. Allen and his wife. They had left a legacy that would last far beyond their own lives. Their love, care, and attention to small details had created something extraordinary. Ranger Mike knew that the story would continue to inspire everyone who discovered it. Anna approached him one last time. "Mike, this has been incredible," she said. "I have reported many stories, but this one, it feels different. It feels like it will stay with everyone forever." Mike smiled. "Yes, it does. And it will. The most important things in life are not things we can touch or hold, but the feelings we share and the memories we create." Mr. Allen understood that, and now we all can too. The forest outside was quiet in the evening light. The car had been brought down from the tree, its secrets revealed, and its story shared with the town. Ranger Mike felt a sense of peace. The mystery had turned into a treasure of emotion, connection, and history. Before leaving, Mike took one last look at the forest. He thought about all the small moments he had observed in the letters, the walks, the laughter, the simple joys of life. He realized that the story of the car was not only about the past but also about the present and the future. It reminded everyone that love and care could survive time and reach people in unexpected ways. The town had found more than letters and photographs. It had found inspiration, hope, and a sense of connection. Ranger Mike smiled, knowing that the car in the tree had done something remarkable. It had brought the town together, taught lessons about life and love, and reminded everyone of the value of memories. As night fell, the lights of the town shone gently. Ranger Mike packed the last of the letters and photographs carefully for safekeeping. The exhibition had ended for the day, but the story would continue. The people of the town would remember Mr. Allen and his wife for many years, passing the story on to future generations. And so, the car that once hung high in a tree had finally fulfilled its purpose. It had hidden secrets, shared emotions, and taught a town about the power of love, memory, and life. What started as a strange and impossible sight had ended as a gift for everyone. A reminder that the most extraordinary treasures are often the ones that come from the heart. Ranger Mike turned off the lights, feeling satisfied. The story was complete, yet its impact would continue forever. The car, the letters, the photographs, and the memories had become part of the town, part of the hearts of everyone who had seen them. And the forest, quiet and wise, held the secret of how it all began, a car high in a tree, waiting for the right moment to reveal a story that would touch generations.